Goal and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're doing Understanding Our Past, that is chapter 1 of NCERT Social Science. So let's begin. First of all, we all should know what ancient history is: the aggregate of past events from beginning of writing and recorded human history and extending as far as post-classical history. The phrase may be used either to refer the period of time or the academic discipline. The span of recorded history is roughly 5,000 years, beginning with the Sumerian cuneiform script, with the oldest coherent texts from about 2600 BCE. In the history of Europe, the Middle Ages or the medieval period lasted approximately from the 5th to the late 15th centuries. It began with the fall of the Western Roman Empire and transitioned into the Renaissance of the Age of Discovery. Now, the early modern history, what is that? The early modern period of modern history follows the late Middle Ages of the post-classical era. The early modern history also includes the rise of the dominance of the economic theory of mercantilism. In many periodizations of human history, the late modern period followed the early modern period. Now, what is history actually used for? Why should we even study history? Studying history allows us to observe and understand how people and societies behaved. For example, we are able to evaluate war even when a nation is at peace by looking back at previous events. History provides us with the data that is used to create laws or theories about various aspects of society. Agreed? Knowledge of a person, of our past, helps us to see how humans react and deal with situations. Just as a person learns from their mistakes, knowledge of our history helps us learn from our mistakes, giving us insight into the future. Now, many events that have happened in a way, for an example, now there is no longer plague in the world, right? Here are a few events that totally changed the world. Start of World War I, June 1914. Russian Revolution, October 1917. Start of World War II, September 1939. Pearl Harbor and entry of the US into WWII. Right? Atomic bomb drop in Hiroshima, August 45. Indian independence 1947. Establishment of Maoist China 1949. Now, we all have heard the term chronology. But what is chronology? Chronology is the order in which a series of events takes place. Chronology is a word meaning the study of time. The birth of Jesus Christ is used as a reference point. The dates before Jesus Christ are referred to as BC, that means before Christ, or BCE, before Common Era. And the dates after that can be called as AD for Anno Domini or CE for Common Era. When things are put in a chronological order, it can be called a timeline. Now let's see why foreigners visited India. It was known that foreigners visited India. We all know that. But why did they visit India? Let's see. Natural beauty and cultures. Now, India is very well known for its colorful traditions, natural beauty and things like that. It has all types of climates lying at each corner of the country and diversity among all states, thus attracting large amount of tourists now and then. Now, foreigners visit India why? To witness its natural beauty, culture and heritage, known monuments and historic sites, rich and diverse traditions, and finally, Obviously, unity and diversity. Another reason why they visit is religious hubs. India is home to many religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism, and many more. It all originated in India thousands and millions of years ago, and which is why it's making a lot of pilgrimage centers of them in India. Foreigners who believe in these religions visit India as a part of the pilgrimage to visit their religious hubs. A big reason why foreigners visited India is education. India has a lot of temples, heritages, traditions, and history to learn about that contains many education hubs. Nalanda University could be one of the most relevant examples for such a place. Now, foreigners come here to learn about religions, beliefs, and to gain education from such places, right? Now, the very big reason is trade and business. Spices are common in each of our foods. We add it in each and every sort of food we eat. It gives us a different taste that is extremely delicious. Like spices, there are many other food items and crops that are easily available here but not in some other countries. People come here from different countries that do not have availability of these food items and they come here to trade and to make a business. The last and huge reason is location. Having the hot and humid coasts at the southern tip and the humongous mountain ranges at the northern tip, India is approached by Asians from the north and the Europeans from the western people and from the seas, and so did Vasco da Gama first find the sea route to India, allowing Europeans to come here to trade and visit and even to conquer our nation, right? Now moving ahead, let's see about we know that there are two types of sources of history, literary sources and archaeological sources. Let's see about literary sources. Literary sources are nothing but your written sources, okay? The literary sources include literature of Vedic, Sanskrit, Pali, Prakrit and other literature along with foreign accounts. In India, people used to write how they lived, how they ruled, etc. on palm leaves, bark of birch trees, and even carve it on stone tablets. Some very famous mythological stories written in ancient India are Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gitas, and Puranas. Now I told you there's another type, that is archaeological sources. Let's see about that. First type is inscriptions. Inscriptions are the writing on stone, metal, or some materials as an important historical source. These are valuable historical evidence of the existence and activities of early kings and empires. Also, they provide detailed religious practices. Second is the monuments. A monument is a type of structure that was explicitly created to commemorate a person or event, or which has become relevant to a social group as part of their remembrance of a historic time or cultural heritage due to its artistic, historical, political, technical or architectural importance. Then we have our artifacts. Artifacts include tools, clothing and decorations made by people. They provide essential clues for researchers studying ancient cultures, material remains of a culture such as tools, clothing or even food to expose by digging. Usually they find about this by digging, okay? Finally, let's see about coins. What are coins? A coin is a small flat round piece of metal or plastic. And when were coins made? The world's first coins were made around 600 BC. Very important date, 600 BC. And what is the use of coins in history? Why is it so important in history? How do they help in narrating history? There are many ways in which coins can be historical sources. One is their distribution. The designs of coins can also tell us about the religious and political beliefs of a particular civilization or at least the beliefs of those in charge of the government. What can we learn from coins? What's the point of studying about coins? Coins form an important source of historical information. Ancient coins were mostly made up of gold, silver, copper, or lead. Okay, lead as in not your pencil lead, it's a different type of lead. Okay, coins made of Kushan period were made of burnt clay. Okay, they've discovered coins made of burnt clay. Some of the coins contain religious and legendary symbols which throw light on the culture of that time. Okay, so I show you a few images of a few unique coins. Okay, so here the first one here, right, this is a Canada 5 cents coins of the year 2000. This is a 1 dime of the US of 1994. This is a 20 pence of UK, because you have Queen Elizabeth II's image here, and this is from 1982. Now here's a very special coin. This is a coin that is from this is like a very old coin of India. It has it's a Keralite coin, and it has engravings written in Malayalam. This is a 4 cash coin. Weird, right? 4 cash. And this has an elephant symbol on it, which at that time was considered as like the national animal sort of thing of Kerala, right? And this has the initials of a king, R and V. So very unique coin, right? Now here is a coin that is from the British rule period. This is a 1/4 of an anna, okay, and this is from 1939, and this has the image of King Gregory, if I'm not wrong, and yeah. Some paise coins, 1 paise, 2 paise, 3 paise, 10 paise, 20 paise, 25 paise. Here's another special coin. This is a 2 rupees coin that has the image of Louis Braille on it, and the amount of 2 is written in Braille, and this is for the blind, right? They pay using such coins. Some Singapore coins. Okay, these are a couple of, there are many here. You can pause and have a look. These are some UK currencies. Here's an interesting fact for you all. The back of the UK currencies, when joined, all of the cents together, when joined, they form the shield of UK. This is Nepal currency. And here's another special coin. This is a 25 paise coin, and this displays the Asian Games that were held in Delhi, India, in the late 19s. Okay, this has the logo of in Asian Games. Okay, now this is an ordinary looking 5 rupees coin, right? So there's the back and the front, and this is like any other ordinary coin. What's so special about this? What's special about this is this has 3 layers of coins in itself. Cool, isn't it? So with that, we've come to the end of today's video. Hope you all liked it. If you did, smash the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. See you guys in the upcoming videos. Until then, stay home, stay safe. Goodbye.